Alright, we're going to be talking about some running backs that I liked the first 2 weeks of the preseason. And these running backs are going to all be sleepers and people that you can pick up late in your dynasty and redraft leagues. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, first off is Rhamondre Stevenson. I watched a lot of this guy's tape coming out, and he did not look good. But apparently he lost a lot of weight, and then it definitely shows on tape because he looks a lot faster and he has a lot better cuts than he did when he was in college. So we'll get this one going. It's just solid running right here. It seems like they like using him as goal line back too because he has 4 touchdowns for 2 preseason games so far. It's quite a bit. And this is like his big run of the preseason. And he can also pass catch pretty decently too, which is pretty good. Even though the Patriots usually just used a ground and pound guy and then they use a different guy to catch passes, but who knows. But yeah, look at how shifty he looks actually. Looks pretty hard to bring down, which is pretty impressive. And he looks pretty quick actually, so good guy to pick up. But you can't be doing that. It's not going to get you playing time with Bill Belichick. Alright, the next guy on my list is Tony Jones Jr. He is an undrafted free agent this year for the Saints. I never really heard of this guy until I saw him playing preseason on the Saints actually. But looking on like a Dynasty subreddit, I saw a bunch of people saying that they saw him in college at Notre Dame and that they didn't think he was good. But he actually looks pretty good in these videos right here. And another big thing about him is that it seems like Sean Payton wants him to have the running back 2 role, and so far it looks like he's ahead of Tavis Murray and Devonta Freeman in the depth chart. So he's gonna be pretty valuable if he's the RB2 on the team behind Kamara. And I don't think that many people realize that he's the RB2 right now on their team. So you can trade for him or pick him up pretty late, pretty easily. I think he's a guy that I'm gonna target in like one of the last rounds of all my redraft leagues. And he runs the ball pretty well. It's not like insanely good, but he does everything really well, it seems like. Keep you extending the play, he knew that, so he wanted to get open. It's a pretty solid play, good awareness. It's been used a lot in the receiving game, which is a good sign. I've rarely ever seen him get stopped behind the line, which is a good trait to have. I just put that one in because he got just to show that he can kind of fast block, but he got destroyed by that guy. He still didn't let him get past him though, so that's a good sign. He kind of feels like James Robinson to me. Like he could break out and not quite be James Robinson, but if something happens to Kamara, he'll be huge for fantasy football. Alright, the next guy is JJ Taylor. It's a guy who I watched a lot last year when he joined the Patriots, and he looked really good. But the thing is, they just have to let him have a chance, and he'll do good. And there's a lot of running backs on that team right now, so I don't know. I just put him in here because I think he looks really good and could have a chance to do something this year. He made some really good preseason plays too. But he is mainly playing in like the third quarter in this game, so they're not against the best players ever. I think this play is one of his good ones. Oof. Spin move. Everyone in the stadium was just screaming after that play. I thought this was... We'll go back to that. I really thought this was his best play though. Hits the hole. Bursts through it really fast, and then he just looked amazing running right there. I'm a big Rojo fan. I know a lot of people don't like him, but he looks kind of like Rojo to me when he runs the ball. Alright, well, yeah. I think Rhamondre will be... I don't know. It's either going to be him or Rhamondre that are going to be more fantasy relevant, but it's hard to tell. Probably Rhamondre, though. But I really like JJ Taylor. Alright, the next guy is Ty Johnson. He's a guy you can get easily in the last round of your redraft leagues. And everyone's just writing him off, saying Tevin Coleman's there, that Michael Carter is going to be the starting running back, but I don't know if that's even true. Ty Johnson looked really good last year, and I believe that he's going to be the starting running back at least for the first half of the year. There's not much film on him, but I just showed that he was on third downs every single play in the first quarters. Third down, he's right there again. Last year he had a lot of film and he looked really good though. So he's either the running back 1 or 2 right now. Can't really tell for sure, because I haven't seen much Tevin Coleman. Alright, the next guy is really interesting. He's a guy who had 8 touchdowns in a college football game last year. And it's Jaret Patterson, the running back for the Washington football team, who was an undrafted free agent this year. I don't think he's going to be super relevant for fantasy this year, but if Antonio Gibson goes down, he could have a pretty good stretch until Gibson gets back, because he is a good running back. And these clips show that for sure. He's a really small guy, but he's got quickness and agility. He makes people miss. Like, that was a pretty good move. Like, I should have had him. And he can catch passes really well out of the backfield. Good vision. Good cuts. I don't know what there's not to love about this guy. He's got a good future ahead of him. Don't know if that was the best pass blocking, but he'll work on it.
Goes over to his house and gets Coach Ron Rivera on FaceTime to welcome Jaret Patterson to the Washington football team.
Chase's advice to him was, it's not how you get into the NFL, it's how you wind.
So yeah, just pretty solid overall. I like that cut to the outside. Gained like 5 extra yards doing that. He just seems like he has really good vision. Finds all the holes. Breaks into the end zone for the last clip. Alright, the next guy up is Kenny Gainwell. this was actually one of my favorite guys coming out of this class this year. And I was kind of sad that he sat out for COVID in his last year of college. And I think that really affected his draft stock. So he's a 2021 fourth round pick for the Eagles. I thought he would be like a second or third round pick, but apparently not. But watching all these games, all the announcers are saying the same thing. They're surprised that he fell to the fourth round pick and stuff like that. So, I don't know. He seems like he's the RB2 on this team already, actually. And he looks pretty solid in both running and receiving. I think he'd be used as the third down back for most part. It's pretty good contact balance. Pretty shifty. Great hands. Best receiving back in this class, probably. It seems like he struggles a little bit with vision. Looks like stuff is moving a little fast for him, possibly, but he'll learn. Because he's pretty great back. Jamycal Hasty is actually one of my favorite guys also. I think he looks amazing but I think he's really undervalued because there's a lot of running backs on the Niners. He runs really fast. He's not the strongest guy, but he's a great pass catcher, great fit for this 49ers offensive scheme.
That is Will Parks, the former Denver Broncos safety. Jamycal Hasty!
Has good cuts and good speed. Can catch the ball pretty well. Yeah, all the Niners running backs are always bound to get injured, so I'm sure Jamycal Hasty will find his way in at some point during the season. But if not, he's not even going to cost you much anyway. Alright, Larry Rountree. This was a guy who I'll go back, actually. This was a guy I watched in college. He didn't look good, kind of like Rhamondre Stevenson, but now all of a sudden he looks a lot better to me. I don't know what happened, but he looks pretty fast. To me, he actually looks kind of like a Leonard Fournette type of runner. Like if he gets a lot of carries, he's going to do good. Break off some plays like this. He looks exactly like Leonard Fournette to me when he runs the ball. Obviously, probably not as like strong or stuff as he was to start out with, but he looks like Leonard Fournette on the Bucks this year. That's what I see. Solid running back. Could probably win the running back 2 role because Joshua Kelly is not doing good, and Justin Jackson is always hurt. So I see Larry Rountree is the probable RB2 on this team. But that's all for me, and thank you for watching, and I'd appreciate it if you subscribe. Have a good day.